grand lake of mud, hidden now from sight.
Until the dank, sweet mud takes us all upon the awakening of Hebratus.
Large bodies of water are present throughout Bloodborne's story, often serving as reference to a greater unknown. From the blasphemy that once took place in the fishing hamlet to the ritual secret of the Bergenworth spider, great volumes of water are a recurring theme. However, despite the prevalence of this imagery throughout the finished product, there was at one point planned to be another particularly striking shoreline upon which a somewhat climactic encounter would have taken place. As we know, beneath Yharnam lies a sprawling dungeon labyrinth, and it is in here that we were once intended to come across a vast lake, encountering a wholly unique version of Bloodborne's final boss, the Moon Presence. Colloquially known as the Lake of Mud, this arena and the boss creature found within were entirely cut from the game before its completion. In the state we find this area, there are many parts missing, with the flanking wall entirely absent and displaced roots seen floating. It's a stunning arena, albeit here clearly unfinished, and one that sadly ended up on the cutting room floor. Turning to the Bloodborne official artworks, we see what appears to be the same location, although here shown with far more detail. What looks like our hunter standing by a baby carriage out on the lake, an ornate barrier wall seen further out in the distance, and some number of gravestones dotted across the shore, many environmental details having never made it into this area's design. However, diving further into the Chalice Dungeon files, which we used to test and draft many ideas throughout Bloodborne's development, we find another unused and far more complete version of this same arena, and it is one that not only matches the originally seen concept art to an uncanny degree, but also features a particularly interesting use of water effects. For all intents and purposes, the area feels like a complete and somewhat polished in-game location, despite never actually making it into Bloodborne's campaign in any form. Beyond the use of rolling water here, the most interesting aspect by far is the ornate design of the barrier wall, upon which various statues and intricate details are featured. This particular iteration of the so-called Lake of Mud is styled and lit as if to appear within the Tumerian ruins. Another similarly unused version of this arena also exists with the aesthetics of Ailing Loren. And finally, a third in the cosmic style of Iz. These three arenas were initially discovered by Foxy Hooligans, who has a YouTube channel featuring a lot of cut content focused on the creature and boss mechanics of Bloodborne, and to which I'll leave a link in the description. Make sure you take a look. Elsewhere within the Chalice Dungeon files we can find other, less polished iterations of the proverbial Lake of Mud, including this one with a series of gravestones scattered across the shore, another aspect which was shown in the aforementioned concept artwork. These graves appear to be the same ones used in the Hunter's Dream, through which we initially travel to the Chalice Dungeons. So based on what we've seen here, it's fair to assume that this entire locale went through quite a number of revisions, but was then discarded entirely. However, in the months following Bloodborne's release, during the further development of the Old Hunters expansion pack, this concept was reconsidered at least one last time. With this additional content installed, the fishing hamlet plays host to a climactic seafront battle. And while the design of this arena is somewhat reminiscent of the Lake of Mud we saw in those unused files, none of the key iconography is present here. However, there are 3 unused files within the fishing hamlet data, and by simply renaming them, with no further adjustments necessary, we get a look at what was once considered for the design of this location. A wholly unique version of the Lake of Mud's ornate wall was designed specifically to appear in the finale of the Old Hunters expansion pack. Unlike the older iteration of this structure that we had seen in the Chalice Dungeon files, this one is covered in barnacles, and no longer features the various statues and many of the decorations that had been there before. There are moments earlier on in the fishing hamlet at which point the beach can be seen from afar, and it's interesting how restoring these unused assets dramatically affects the appearance of the seascape from here. So of course, in the end, this iconic set piece never made its way into Bloodborne in any form, but I find it quite amazing to see how far through the development process this concept survived before being discarded. From the initial concept art through to so many drafted iterations, it's an interesting glimpse at a small aspect of how the design process might have played out. I hope that you might have also found this a little interesting, and if so, do consider clicking the like button or even leaving a friendly comment below. I'm always working on making new discoveries to share with you from a variety of games, so if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to keep up with my work. You can find more ways to follow and support my work in the description, and either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.